So this is the problem which is based on the concept of time stress or nothing but the linear expansion. So a clock with a brass pendulum keeps correct time at 20 degrees Celsius but loses 8.212 seconds per day when the temperature rises to 30 degrees Celsius. Calculate the coefficient of linear expansion of brass. The initial temperature is equal to 20 degrees Celsius, but the temperature rises to 30 degrees. It loses the time, nothing but the delta T, 8.212 seconds. So we should find out the coefficient of linear expansion. So we can write 8.212 is equal to half alpha into T2 minus T1. So half into alpha into, so what is T2 minus T1? T2 is 30, T1 is 20, is equal to 8.212. Therefore, this will be 16.424 because we did the cross multiplication. 16.424 is equal to alpha into 10. Therefore, alpha is equal to 16.424 by 10, 1.64. This 1.64 is the coefficient of linear expansion of brass. The next concept is anomalous expansion of water. So what is this anomalous expansion of water? Anomalous means it is not regular. For a particular value, its expansion takes place. Beyond that value or above that value, expansion won't be observed. So what is this concept? To understand this concept, we should know about critical temperature. Take some ice cubes. Let us suppose these ice cubes are just arranged irregularly in a kettle. Suppose the temperature of the ice cubes is 0 degrees Celsius. As I am applying some heat energy in a form of flame to increase its temperature, and that too useful to convert the solid state ice to the liquid state water. But suppose if I applied the heat energy, the melting of the ice won't start very easily. It will take some time to convert to the water state or liquid state. Means some of the heat energy is utilized to convert the 0 degrees Celsius of water to Celsius of ice to water. But this kettle will expand on the applying of the heat. At 4 degrees Celsius temperature onwards, the melting of the ice will start. That means up to the 4 degrees Celsius temperature, this rise in this 4 degrees Celsius are useful to rise the internal energy of the each ice cube. So this 4 degrees Celsius is the junction point. While you are increasing the temperature from 4 degrees Celsius onwards, the change in the state of matter will start. While you are cooling the body up to 4 degrees Celsius, the liquid will be in the liquid state. When the temperature reaches to 4, from 4 degrees Celsius onwards, this liquid will cool down and converts to the ice. That means expansion up to 4, it is in solid state. From 4 degrees Celsius onwards, it will convert to water. This is in the concept of gain of heat. But in the concept of loss of heat, up to 4 degrees Celsius, the water will be in the liquid state. From 4 degrees Celsius onwards, it converts to ice. As we know that when a state of matter converts to another state of matter, there will be a change in the physical properties of the matter. What are the physical properties can change in this change? Liquid, which is initially at a volume, will increase to the ice. Nothing but increase in the volume takes place when a liquid converts to the ice. Best example, take a bottle. Just try to fill this one with complete water without any gaps. Though this neck should be filled, neck also should be filled. Or just remove the neck, means up to this level, please keep the neck empty. Down the neck, please completely fill the water with the water. Try to keep this bottle in the deep fridge. So deep freezer. Automatically, the water which is inside the bottle will expand because it is under the cooling process. When a body loses the temperature, it will expand, especially water. So that means deep freezer. In the very next day morning, if you remove the deep freezer, try to see the bottle which was filled with the water in the before day or yesterday. If the bottle is not made with the quality material, you will see some cracks and most probably holes sometimes, and the leakage of water also. What is the reason behind the leakage or the cracks on the bottle? Only reason is when the temperature cooled down to 4 degrees Celsius, that 4 degrees Celsius onwards, the water inside the bottle expands. This expansion is anomalous expansion, which creates lot of troubles within a short interval of time. This behavior is called anomalous expansion. The reason behind this anomalous expansion is critical temperature. This anomalous expansion of water from 4 degrees Celsius onwards has many uses in the nature, especially for the survival of aquatic animals. This phenomena is very, very useful. Now we will discuss this phenomena in detail. So, the significance of anomalous expansion. Let us suppose, take some cold countries, New Zealand, the countries which are around the Pacific Ocean, they are always the cold state, Canada. In those countries, if you see the ponds, rivers and lakes, the top layer is always freezes. Let us suppose, try to assume these ponds or rivers or lakes like some layers. At normal temperatures, the aquatic animals like fishes, seal, like that, the aquatic animals can survive normally on the toppest layers of the lakes or ponds or rivers. Once the temperature falling towards the state of 4 degrees Celsius, where the animal has the ability to sense the changes in the atmosphere very easily, its sensation is very different when compared to the human beings. Once it senses the changes in the atmosphere, the animals which are aquatic, they will come down to the beneath of the water, this part. Let us say this is layer 1, this is layer 2, this is layer 3, and this is layer 4. So L1, L2, L3, L4. What is the use of dividing the water into the layers? Yes, please. Once the change in the atmosphere or the change in the temperature fall down to the 4 degrees Celsius, this topmost layer will experience it first. If the topmost layer experiences the change in the atmosphere or temperature first, this topmost layer freezes. Once some amount of water freezes to ice, that will behave as a bad conductor. That's why the remaining effect of the change in the temperature means maybe the temperature decreases to 0 also, negative scale also, whatever it is. This 4 degrees Celsius layer, which is focused to the outermost atmosphere, nothing but the topmost layer of the ponds or lake of a river, freezes. This will act as a bad conductor of heat. That's why the remaining layers will be in the liquid state. By sensing this dangerous thing to the aquatic animals, these aquatic animals will go to the under beneath parts of the water and they will survive. If you see some of the channels like National Geographic or Discovery channels, we have many videos based on this phenomena, this aquatic animal behavior. So, most probably this topmost layer will be at 4 degrees Celsius, the downmost layers will be at 3 degrees, 2 degrees, 1 degree. Anyway, the remaining layers, the aquatic animals will survive very easily. And this anomalous expansion of water is one of the main reason for the breaking of water pipelines. This case is not that much easily available in India, but most of the cold countries, as I mentioned earlier, like Canada or the Pacific Ocean region, okay, the water pipelines which are connected from the ocean to the domestics, it always breaks irregularly. So what is the reason? The water expands to the coldest temperatures, they need more volume to occupy. So it won't be fit in the pipelines, that's why it will come out of the pipeline. So these are some important features about the anomalous expansion of the water. The next concept is calorimetry. As we know that metry means measurement. Calorie is the CGS unit of energy. So calorimetry is nothing but the measurement of energy. But which energy it is? Heat energy. It is the branch of physics which deals with the motion of heat and their energy. Especially, this calorimetry was useful to identify the nature of the heat energy in the changes of the state. As we know the different changes in the states of matter. First, it will be in the solid state, liquid, gas. A solid body, to convert as a liquid state, the only way is to apply the heat energy. Means on heating, solid can be converted to liquid and liquid on heating can be converted to gas. Suppose if a gaseous state body should gain the liquid state, we should do the cooling process. Exactly reverse. On cooling. Liquid to solid also on cooling. See some examples. Solid ice. When you burn the ice in a kettle, it will convert it to liquid state, nothing but the water. If you keep the water continue to be heated, it will attain the gaseous state, nothing but the vapor. Therefore, solid to liquid and liquid to gas, the physical quantities of the body can change, or nothing but the physical quantities of the matter is going to change. That's why this change is called as physical change, where it is irreversible also. We can achieve solid to liquid state as well as liquid to solid state. We can achieve liquid to gaseous state as well as gas to liquid state, means which is reversible to each other. And by avoiding the liquid state, a solid can be converted to gas, or by avoiding the liquid state, a gas can be converted to solid. What is this? Solid to liquid is melting. And liquid to gas is boiling. At what temperature a solid body converts to the liquid state is called melting point. At a particular temperature where the liquid body starts to vaporize, that is called boiling point. Solid to liquid is melting point and liquid to gas is boiling point. But the solid to gas process by avoiding the liquid and vice versa is called sublimation. Sublimation. The examples for the sublimation is dry ice, nothing but the carbon dioxide, and naphthalene balls. Dry ice. So, the changes of the states occur automatically. Some heat will be exchanged between the different states and some heat will be transferred to the surroundings. The exchanged energy and the transferred energy, we want to study it, that is called as calorimetry. The next concept is thermal capacity or heat capacity. What is this thermal capacity? Let us take an object which is at room temperature, some 27 degrees Celsius. This body is independent of the temperature of surroundings, means there is no application of temperature of the surroundings. It was preserved in one room. Now, without changing pressure, without changing the other physical quantities, I should raise the temperature of this body by 1 degree Celsius. Initially, it is at a temperature 27 degrees. With rise, its temperature should become 28 degrees Celsius. For that purpose, I should heat the body. When I am heating the body, it is nothing but I am applying some heat energy. So, the amount of heat energy that I require to increase the body's temperature or to rise the body's temperature by 1 degree Celsius is called its heat capacity or thermal capacity. The definition is the amount of heat energy required to rise the temperature of a body by 1 degree Celsius is called its thermal capacity. or heat capacity. So we can write it as S is equal to dq by dt, where Q is heat energy, where T is temperature. So what is its SI unit? The SI unit of heat energy is joule, SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. That's why the SI unit of thermal capacity is joule for Kelvin, or we can write joule Kelvin inverse. The CGS unit is, the CGS unit of the heat energy is calorie. The CGS unit of the temperature is Celsius or degrees Celsius. So it will be calorie for degrees Celsius, or we can write calorie degrees Celsius inverse. If you want to write the dimensional formula of the thermal capacity or heat capacity, where Q is heat energy, so for energy it is mL square T power minus 2, where temperature is K. Therefore, the dimensional formula for thermal capacity or heat capacity is mL square T power minus 2 K power minus 1. So the thermal capacity or heat capacity of a body has 1 dimensions in mass, 2 dimensions in length, minus 2 dimensions in time, and minus 1 dimensions in temperature. The next concept is specific heat or specific heat capacity. The definition of this concept is also simply same with the heat capacity or thermal capacity, but what is the difference? Take a body, it has mass some capital M, where capital M is sum of many small m's, we can say that, and continued for n times. So its temperature initially is at room temperature. Now I want to raise the temperature of this body by 1 degree Celsius, means to become 28 degrees Celsius. For the rise in the 1 degree Celsius of the temperature of this body, I should apply some heat energy on it. This applied heat energy per unit mass to rise the temperature of a given substance by 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat or specific heat capacity. So therefore, the amount of heat energy required to rise the unit mass of a body by 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat or specific heat capacity. So we can say this one as S. The another name for this one is also molar specific heat. Why? If it is unit mass, in the place of unit mass, if we place for 1 mole or for unit mole, it will become molar specific heat capacity also. So the symbol is Sm or S is equal to 1 by m into dq by dt. amount of heat energy required per unit mass to rise the temperature by 1 degree Celsius, where Q is heat energy, T is temperature. It's better to write the capital T, so no problem. Therefore, what is the SI unit for this molar specific heat or specific heat capacity? 1 by m is nothing but mass inverse, kg inverse into what is this SI unit of energy? Joule per Kelvin. So, joule per kg Kelvin. So, CGS unit 1 by mass, gram inverse into heat energy, calorie per degree Celsius. So, therefore, it will become calorie per degree Celsius gram or gram degree Celsius. So, what is the dimensional formula of the specific heat capacity? Again, 1 by m means m minus 1. Energy is m L square T power minus 2. Temperature is K power minus 1. So, m and m power minus 1 will get cancelled. Therefore, we will get L square T power minus 2, K power minus 1 and m power 0. Therefore, this molar specific heat or specific heat capacity is, its dimensional formula is, it has 0 dimensions in mass, 2 dimensions in length, minus 2 dimensions in time and minus 1 dimension in temperature. The next concept is water equivalent. Take some water in a kettle. It has some mass capital M. The amount of heat energy required to rise the temperature of this one by 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat capacity. But if temperature needed or the heat energy required to rise the temperature of this one by 1 degree when it is equal to its mass, means amount of mass of the body is equal to the amount of temperature in it is called its water equivalent. So, we can say that S is equal to dq by dt. So, water equivalent is equal to mass into specific heat, because we can say that Sm is equal to 1 by m into dq by dt. The amount of heat energy required is equal to the amount of temperature. Therefore, dq by dt is equal to 1. Therefore, m into Sm is equal to water equivalent. So, m into Sm. So, what is the SI unit of water equivalent? Is equal to mass, nothing but the kg. So, water equivalent is almost similar to the mass of the body. At the same time, this water equivalent has the dimensions also. The dimensional formula of water equivalent is equal to m power 1, all remaining are L power 0, T power 0. Because as I mentioned earlier, this water equivalent has the dimensions of mass and it is similar to the mass of a body, which is in the ratio of dq by dt. So this is the problem which is based on the concept of thermal capacity and specific heat capacity. If you see the content of the problem, a lump of iron of mass 2 kg is heated from 40 degrees Celsius to 1000 degrees Celsius. If the heat supplied is 192 kilocalories, find its thermal capacity. Find also the specific heat of iron. Mass of the body is 2 kg. Temperature was changed from T1 is 40 degrees Celsius, T2 is changed to 1000 degrees Celsius. The heat supplied is nothing but dQ is 192 kilocalories. 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joules because we should convert this one into SI system of units. Therefore, 1 calorie is equal to 4.2 joules. The temperature rise is dT is equal to T2 minus T1, nothing but 960 degrees Celsius. So, the first bit is thermal capacity. The thermal capacity S or H is equal to dQ by dt, where dQ is 192 into kilo means 10 cube into 1 calorie is 4.2 joules. Temperature rise is 960 degrees. Therefore, it is 192 in 965 times 10 cube, 42 into 10 square by 5, 4200 by 5, it is 840 joules per Kelvin. Because here also the change in the degree Celsius is 960 as well as the change in the Kelvin also 960. That's why we can write the units 840 joules per Kelvin. The first bit was over. So what is the second bit from the same question? Specific heat of iron. Therefore, specific heat is equal to 1 by m into dQ by dt. So what is m? 2 kg. 1 by 2 into dQ by dt 840. So it is 420 joules per kg per Kelvin. In other words, we can write 420 joules per Kelvin per kg inverse. So like this we can find out the thermal and specific heat capacities of the given solid bodies. Now we are discussing the changes of state and latent heat. We know that the changes of state is 3 types. First, solid state is the regular one. When a solid state is applied to or impulsed to a heat energy, then the solid state will convert to liquid. Liquid will be converted to gas. Here we know this conversion, but this conversion is related with the latent heat. How it is possible? Take an example of water. The solid form of the water is ice. Ice is 0 degrees Celsius at temperature. Then this water is in liquid state. Then it will be again in the steam state, where liquid is some 20 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius, where steam is 100 degrees Celsius. But what is the meaning of this conversion? If you see the ice, if this ice is applied to some heat energy, these ice cubes will receive the heat energy and gets melted, and it's melt to liquid state. But if we keep on heating some amount of the ice cubes, these ice cubes won't change to the liquid state in the very next moment. They will keep on absorbing the heat energy. While they are absorbing the heat energy continuously, you will say ice will be at 0 degrees Celsius. This ice will convert it to water, but initially the water also will be at 0 degrees Celsius. So at 0 degrees Celsius, we can expect solid state of water and at the same time liquid state of water. Now the heat energy which was continuously applied to the ice cubes, it will be absorbed by the water changed ice. Then the temperature keep on rising with respect to the surroundings and with respect to the applied one. Then the temperature will continuously increases to 20 to 30 degrees Celsius. Then it will get a purified form of liquid at room temperature. Once you get the water which is at room temperature, if we keep on giving the heat energy in a form of a flame or Bunsen flame, then the temperature will increases above the 50 to 80, 80 to 100. Up to 100 degrees Celsius, some water will be present. At the same time, from water, steam will come out. So what we can expect in the changes of state? Yes, at 100 degrees, water is present, nothing but the liquid shape of the water is present, and the vapor state or gaseous state of the water is also present. At 0 degrees, solid and liquid state. At 100 degrees, liquid and gaseous state. These all states are possible with increase in the temperature. So we can say that solid to liquid, it is a melting process. Liquid to gas, it is boiling process. So what is the meaning of latent heat? Whenever a change of state occurred, there is a possibility for the exchange in the energy levels. The amount of energy which is exchanged between the two states of the matter is called its latent heat. So what we can say, this is one state of conversion and this is another state of the conversion. So solid to liquid via solid to gas via liquid state. So solid to liquid is melting point and liquid to gas is boiling point. This latent heat is two types. Solid to liquid is said to be LF. The LF means latent heat of fusion. Liquid to gas is LV, where LV is latent heat of vaporization. LF is latent heat of fusion. LV means latent heat of vaporization. What we can say, this latent heat of fusion is not only from solid to liquid as well as liquid to solid also. So I am drawing the arrow marks which are in the reverse order. LV means latent heat of vaporization. It is not only from the liquid to gas and as well as gas to liquid, nothing but the vice versa. Now we will discuss this latent heat with the help of graphs and related values. So the definition of latent heat is like this. The amount of heat energy which is absorbed or given. Absorbed means gaining, given means given to the other material, which is absorbed or given to the substance during its change of state. Is called latent heat. So, the symbol of latent heat is L. It is represented by heat energy required per unit mass. So, heat energy required per unit mass. So, its SI unit is heat energy joule. The SI unit of mass is kg, joule per kg or joule kg inverse. The dimensional formula of L is heat energy. The dimensional formula of the heat energy is m L square T power minus 2 by mass. Dimensional symbol is capital M. This m and m get cancelled. We will get L square T power minus 2. So, it has 2 dimensions in length, minus 2 dimensions in time. So, as well as we already discussed that this latent heat is of 2 types. One is vaporization, one is fusion. Latent heat of vaporization is (540 calorie per gram). Latent heat of fusion is 80 calorie per gram. So, like this we can divide and define the latent heat. Now, we will see the nature of this latent heat in the form of graphs. So, if you see the graph between the temperature and time, we will take temperature on y-axis, some 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. Here it is taking time, small t. The symbol difference is there. For temperature we are representing in the capitals, time we are representing in the time, t. So, we know that at 0 degrees Celsius we can expect solid state of water as well as liquid state. That means this is 0 degrees Celsius. At 0 degrees Celsius, we, of course, if you supply some heat energy, the body will remain in the solid state, and here it will rise. So, this 0 degrees Celsius ice, this is 0 degrees Celsius water. The heat energy what we supplied to ice to convert as water will be absorbed by the molecules in the ice, nothing but the solid form. So, after the whole energy was supplied and gained by each molecule, then it won't convert to water. So, at 0 degrees Celsius, we can expect water state also. So, as the temperature increasing, whenever it is increased to a particular level, so then it is 100 degrees. At this 100 degrees Celsius, we can expect water, and yet if you keep on increase the temperature, we can expect same 100 degrees Celsius for vapor also. Nothing but the gaseous state. There we can expect the evaporation takes place. Here the temperature is same, but change of state was occurred. Ice to water from 0 degrees Celsius, yes, temperature was same. But here 0 to 100 degrees Celsius, state is same, temperature is different. Here also state is different, temperature is same. That means a substance is converting to solid to vapor by a different situations, not in a single situation. For each situation, we have the heat energy formula. So Q is equal to, one formula is ms delta T, one formula is ml. What is this ms delta T? We know that specific heat is equal to Q by m by L delta T, means the amount of heat energy required to rise the temperature of unit mass of the body by 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat. This formula was derived by this equation. This formula was derived by this equation. Q is equal to ml, where L is equal to Q by m. Both the formulae are used to find out the heat energy. In this formula, temperature difference is there. So, for converting, state is same, temperature different, this formula should be used. Therefore, Q is equal to ms delta T is useful in a state of matter is same, but temperature is variable. Second formula, Q is equal to ml. Latent heat is the heat energy required or exchanged between the states of matter during the exchange of the states of matter. That means this formula should be used when temperature remains constant but states of matter changed. So, this one, for the first step, total energy is equal to, in the first step we should use ml, in the second step we should use ms delta T, third step we should use again ml, but here it is ice to water, that means mlf, this is mlv. If delta T is small, then the heat energy is also small. Like this, we can define the different states of matter. The next point to be raised in this case is triple point. Yes, here between at one temperature we can expect two states. At 0 we can expect ice to water, at 100 we can expect water to vapor. But triple point is a temperature at which all states of matter is possible, especially for water. The three states of water whether liquid, gas and solid, at a particular temperature the temperature is called triple point. Now we will see how this triple point can be achieved by the different slopes of the graph. So this is the graph. This is a 0 degrees line, 0 degrees Celsius ice and 0 degrees Celsius water. From here 100 degrees Celsius water, and here same 100 degrees Celsius vapor. And this is vaporized. What we can expect from this? Yes, this is ice line. Let us give the names of the points A to B. This is water line. This to this is steam line. B to C, C to D, and D to E. So what are the nature of the graphs? We can see this. A to B is ice line, 0 degrees Celsius. B to C is water line, 100 degrees Celsius. That means 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. C to D is vapor line, exactly at 100 degrees Celsius. The CD above is vaporized. So what we can expect in this way? We can expect this AB is ice line, means the temperature is constant. Here the temperature is different, state of matter is constant. Here the temperature is constant, states of matter is changing. So what we can understand this is, at any one point A to B or B to C or C to D, at one particular temperature, all states of water is possible. That particular temperature is called triple point of water. If we keep on see the differences or the states of matter changing from one level to the another level, that continuous propagation or the continuous change of the different states of matter, especially for water, is called regulation. What is the physical significance of the regulation and how it is visible to us? We are discussing now. Now we are discussing the regulation. Take some ice cube which is in the dimensions of a rectangle. This ice cube was placed on a table. Take any point of the ice cube. Now take one thread which should be linearly placed on this ice cube, which covers the breadth to length like this. On the opposite side is also same length with some mass. The dotted one indicates the same thread which is on the opposite side of the rectangle face. This one is the visible face. Yes, we have put one thread by keeping two equal weights on each side, W and W, where W1 and W2 are weights. Yes, what we can expect from this experiment? Yes, whenever some weight is applied on the ice cube, that weight can create the force. This force at that point increases the temperature of the body. What is the reason? Pressure is equal to force by area. That means this ice cube, which is in the rectangular dimension, is experiencing some amount of pressure at a particular surface area of the rectangular block. Because of the pressure applied, this pressure is directly proportional to the temperature, inversely proportional to the volume. What we can write means, if temperature keeps on increasing, automatically pressure at that particular point keeps on increasing. So whenever the force which is placed on surface area A is increasing the pressure, constituently it results to the increase in the temperature. That means this ice block at that point will be melted. After the melting, the thread will be lowered, means it will go to some depth of the ice. Once the thread simply goes to the depth of the ice cube, the portion which allowed the thread to go to the depth is again become solidified. Means the force what we are applying on unit surface area of the body is for the short interval of time. Once it is applied for unit short interval of time, then because of the pressure applied, the thread along with the weights goes down. Again the top layer freeze it again. Then again in the depth same force is to be applied. So that whole part, means this whole part where the thread is occupying some unit surface area, experiences the pressure continuously and results the temperature experience continuously. This thread will come down and come down, and at one point we can collect the thread again. So this process of converting an ice to water again to ice to water again to ice, means conversion of the states in the matter or states of the matter with the change in the pressure is called regulation. The conversion or change in the states of matter with increase in pressure continuously. Is called regulation. This we can experience in the process of ice cube. As the thread experiences the pressure, lower down, while it is crossing that part, that whole part is experiencing the change in the pressure and continuously related to the change in temperature. This will be experienced in a finite dimensions of the ice block. The next concept is different classifications in the latent heat. So latent heat classified into fusion and vaporization. We will see the definitions and its values of the latent heat. So the first one is latent heat of fusion. The amount of heat energy exchanged during the change from solid state to liquid state and vice versa at a constant temperature. Is called latent heat of fusion. In CGS units, its value is 80 calorie per gram. So, how can we understand this definition? Yes, ice is converted to water on increasing the temperature. By decreasing the temperature, water can be converted to ice. Both states are possible, a physical example or physical exchange example. In this case, heat energy is exchanged, which is required to gain the temperature or to lose the temperature. So, this amount of heat energy which is exchanged between the conversion of ice to water state, when some amount of ice is converted to water or some amount of water is converted to ice. This is called latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of vaporization means the same definition, but here it is from water to gas. So, LV, latent heat of vaporization. The amount of heat energy exchanged. During the conversion of water to gas and vice versa at constant temperature. In CGS system, this value is 540 calorie per gram.